Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of the Let's Talk About Games podcast, which, again, isn't a podcast. It's still more of just a talk show right now, but this is a fledgling channel, something I'm hoping to get up and running properly in the new year. But for now, let's talk about some games, shall we? Or a game in particular, or rather a franchise in particular. Today I want to talk about Assassin's Creed, because it's my favourite series of all time. I've played every single game, and I'm currently about halfway through, I guess, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Having completed Origins earlier this year, I'm now, halfway through Odyssey and enjoying the hell out of it. But I wanted to make a video where I talked about my wish list for the next Assassin's Creed. Now, we've already had it confirmed that in 2019 we will not be seeing an Assassin's Creed game, much like we didn't in 2016. The gap between Syndicate and Origins, of course. And we saw with that gap the massive shift in direction for the series. Since Syndicate, it's taken on a much more RPG, open world, kind of a mixture between something like maybe Skyrim and GTA. In terms of gameplay, of course, not in terms of theme or tone or whatever, but the narratives of the game have changed. The way you interact with the world, the split between modern day and the time setting has changed, especially since, of course, spoilers, Desmond's passing. If you don't know about that by now, then to be honest, I'm surprised you're watching this video. But anyway, I want to talk about a wish list for the next Assassin's Creed game. At the time of making this, we know literally nothing about where it's going to be set, what it's going to be about, what you're going to be doing in the game. We know nothing about it, which I think is good, of course, because it's going to be a while off yet. So if we knew anything now, I feel like it would be very, very early. But let's talk about the games. So personally, I have loved every single game except from Unity, because it was full of bugs and basically unplayable. And I also wasn't very keen on Revelations, which I think is going to upset a few people, because Ezio is, of course, remains the best Assassin's character, something I'll touch on in a minute. However, I do think Revelations was a weak point, or is rather a weak point in the series. And yes, that does mean that I like Assassin's Creed 3, sorry. I believe that the Odyssey Season Pass is going to contain a remastered Assassin's Creed 3, which I cannot wait for, because I actually thought that game was very good. Fight me if you think otherwise. So my wish list for the next game. First of all, in terms of setting, I literally don't care, which seems like a really strange thing to start, talking about, because, or rather to start this video off by talking about, because a lot of people, they say, oh, I want a game in India, or I want a game in China, or in the days of Genghis Khan, maybe, or something like that. People have, history is long, history is big. People have a lot of ideas that they want to see Ubisoft explore, but me personally, I kind of don't care. What I want, however, is gameplay changes. So, I haven't actually felt like an assassin probably since Assassin's Creed 3. Black Flag, or Assassin's Creed 4, was probably my second or now maybe third favourite game in the series so far, but I didn't feel like an assassin. I think that was the first time in the series that the game kind of strayed quite far from the roots of you being an ultra stealthy assassin, a killer, a silent killer. Black Flag was much more bombast. Of course, there were the ship fights, which were just insanely cool, and I'm glad that Odyssey has seen them continue, and Origins to a point, of course, but I haven't actually felt like an assassin probably since Connor, or Rahakateon, I don't know how you say it. So I feel like there needs to be a gameplay change. This is just for me personally, of course. I will reiterate that quite a few times, I'm sure, while I'm talking about this. But this is all just my personal opinion. I want to go back to the days of even Altair, where your hood was always up, you blend in with the crowds to, hide and evade, you tear down posters. I think that was an AC2 thing, actually, the posters. But actually being a stealthy, silent, hidden member of society. As much as I love Origins and Odyssey, you're not that anymore. You just kind of, you run around. In Odyssey you're a mercenary. In Origins you're a tortured father, hunting his son's killers. You're not really assassins anymore. I know that Origins was of course the origin story, so you're not going to be an assassin, but hopefully, long-time players of the series will get what I mean. You don't really feel like an assassin anymore. I don't know if that's down to level design or me as a player, because I realise it could be just down to me in the sense that I don't really take the stealthy approach the majority of the time, but I also don't think it's often the easiest or the most straightforward approach. It's sometimes quite easy, or it's easier to just charge into a base, kill everyone, especially now that we have these super crazy powers like the lightning strike and things like that in Odyssey, and just get the job done like that. That's much easier than, like planning your attack, planning your escape, getting the right angle for the assassination and stuff like that. It's just easier to charge in, kill everyone, and get out again. So maybe it's level design, maybe it's me being lazy or just not that good at stealth and better generally at combat. But I feel like there's hints in the way that the combat system has changed that means that the developers don't really care about you being that stealthy anymore either. Like why there's so many mechanics for dodging and parrying and counterattacks and things like that. Like counterattacks have kind of gone now, but I feel like assassination has actually taken a bit of a back seat, and I would like to see it brought to the forefront. That's just me. Things I do love about the newer games is the open world aspect and the sense that you can just travel anywhere whenever you like. The question marks to go and uncover, I love doing that, like ticking off a list of, especially in Odyssey when you get to Athens and there's like in just the center of Athens, central Athens, whatever it's called, there's like 13-14 question marks in a really short space, and it's great. Like seeing them all go from question marks to ticked off little icons is really satisfying. So I hope they keep that. What I don't particularly like is how open world it is. I always thought there was something quite unique in the sense that you had to progress through the story to unlock areas of the map because of the way that the animus worked and the genetic code of your memory unlocking the areas. I thought that was a really cool kind of unique touch that again the series has lost. Don't get me wrong, I love the new games, I love the direction they're taking, but I don't really see them anymore as Assassin's Creed games. Like I feel like Syndicate was quite a big change as well, in the sense that Jacob was basically solely a character for just fighting and brawling and outright killing people. Evie, of course, was the stealthy assassin of the two. However, even then, you didn't really use her all that often, which was something that really disappointed me about Syndicate. And also, like, that it was... where am I going with this? I'm not even sure. I've kind of lost my point. But Syndicate, also, yeah, for these videos, I'm never going to make them all that polished and professional just because that's not really my style. I'm very lazy. And no, I'm just kidding. I just feel like it makes it relatable when I go wrong and just forget my train of thought mid-sentence, which is fun. But anyway, another aspect of the game that I would like to see changed is the way that we go about killing the targets. Kind of links into what I said earlier about not feeling like an assassin anymore. But in the early games, you had, it was kind of like level 1 or DNA sequence 1. You build up to the final assassination and then you move on to sequence 2 and, rinse and repeat. That was really cool. Now we have, in Origins, it was the, oh god, what were they called? Like the Sphinx, no, not the Sphinx, what were they called? Like the alligator or the crocodile, whatever, and the hyena and people like that you had to go and kill. And now in Odyssey you have mercenaries and also spoilers, kind of not really spoilers, also the cult. So we still have targets in the game, but other than being level locked, they're not time locked, and they're also not particularly difficult. It's not as if they take a lot of setting up for. Again, like I was saying earlier, you can just kind of charge in, kill them, job done, out you get. That's it. There's no real sense of assassination to that. It's more like a hit and run. So I guess that's kind of my real arc to this, is I kind of want Ubisoft to go back to the days of where we were actually assassins. I love the elements of Brotherhood and Assassin's Creed 3, and Black Flag with the ship as well, the Jackdaw, where you kind of had a base that you built and you made stronger, and you know, your efforts in the game were shown off by your homestead or the Jackdaw or your Brotherhood. I know now we have the Adrestia or Adestia, I can't remember how you say it, but it just doesn't feel the same. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's too much going on in the game that distracts from it. But that's something I'd also like to see brought back, is the idea of developing something like the homestead. I think that was my favourite part of Assassin's Creed 3, was developing the homestead. So bringing something like that back would be really cool. I also kind of miss the days of the Assassins versus Templars. That storyline has pretty much gone. I don't know if that's going to be something that comes back or not, but yeah, that would be on my list as well. So let me know what you guys think. This has gone on longer than I thought it would. I really thought this was going to be a quick one, so I apologise. I've probably just made the same point over and over again for the last 11 or 12 minutes, which I apologise for. But let me know in the comments what you guys think, what you think of Odyssey as well, because it's easily my game of the year. Absolutely adore that game. But what is your wish list for Assassin's Creed 5? Because bear in mind, we still actually haven't moved on from 4. Or the next Assassin's Creed. Just let me know. Thanks for listening. I will see you guys probably in the new year. So have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy whatever that doesn't offend you. And bye for now.